Last week we talked about some of the qualities of the Christ. Have you all been playing with those a little bit this week? Yeah. Okay. Some people just want to come and get the energy and be fed and then go out and do their own thing. But, you know, we need to put a little bit of proactive energy into it. So I want you to pay close attention to what I'm speaking to you about this morning. Say, I will. I will. Okay. What we're talking about today is the walk of the Christ. So, religions have done a good job at separating the spiritual nature and the human nature into two different aspects of self. Modern Christianity has actually created an idea that the human nature is almost bad and that it needs to be redeemed by divine intervention. Now that's kind of true in some ways, but that divine intervention with your lower nature occurs within. It's a blending of the aspects of self within your own heart and consciousness. Ready to take a breath? Okay. Your spiritual nature does not experience this earth plane without your human nature. Your human nature does not survive without spirit. Got that? Okay. Your human nature will not survive without your spirit. And your spiritual nature cannot have the experience on the earth plane without the human nature. So, let's just start there. I want to go a little bit into what they call it a lower and higher self in the Aquarian Gospel. Your lower self, which if you're familiar with your chakras, would represent, you know, your lower three chakras that are dealing with your survival. They deal with security, survival, and the things of the earthly plane, the food you eat, the choices that you make to make yourself happy, secure. These are all questions of who am I in this world? See? Physical stuff. Then the higher self, which if you're into the energy, is your upper chakras. It's how you see yourself. It gives you this vision of connectedness. How do I connect with other people? What is my purpose on the earth plane? I would virtually say almost every human being at some point in their life asks that question. What's it all about? Why am I here anyway? And that we're dealing with the upper area, the higher self. The higher self asks questions of purpose and connectedness. And they all connect in the heart. Now, what I've spoken is not unfamiliar to you, right? Okay. Our spirits are born into the experience of matter. We want to know who I am with the world. That's our connectedness. We want to know who I am in the world. That's our survival. Got it? Okay. So here's the deal. Jesus was human. Really? Yeah. He ate, he partied, he was one partying dude. When you look at how many feasts he attended, he attended feasts and feasts and feasts. Everybody was having a party. Every city he went to, someone would have a big feast to welcome him in. He was celebrated. Now, do you think that he went with a pious energy of detachment when he went to all the parties? Or do you think he laughed and cut up and told jokes and enjoyed the entertainment? He totally enjoyed it. He totally enjoyed it. Jesus laughed. Can you see him laughing? He laughed. Now, is that lower or higher? That's our human self. That's our human self enjoying the sustenance of life, enjoying a good feast, enjoying a good laugh. It's our survival, lower human self. Do you see? He also walked a lot. You don't think about that. He went from here to here. And we go, good, he went from there to there, great. Do you know how long it took to go from there to there? We're talking days. I mean, he walked. He had his disciples, they were, and do you know how you like living out of a suitcase? Are not your human needs up in front of you when you have to live out of a suitcase? My nature is not being met here. You know, I like to camp at a Holiday Inn. I know what my desires are on that level. He had to deal with that. Days on end walking with his people. Human or higher? Very much human. Very much human energy. He taught and he healed. He was always doing something in the physical. And he would get away. He would go away and meditate. In the scriptures, in the King James Version, in the Aquarian Gospel, there are countless times where the disciples do not know where he is. They're with him 24/7, and they don't know where he has yet again disappeared to. Because he's going away to be with his Father, to do his meditation time. And in the Aquarian, we see 2 times where Jesus takes a vacation. He literally says, bye guys. Y'all go on. I've taught you well enough. I'm going to send you off by 2. Go do the work. But I'm going to go take a break. And one of the times is in chapter 123, and I just wanted to read you because I thought it was very sweet. Jesus went alone across the hills of Galilee, and after so many days he reached the home of Rachel, and there he stayed. He did not advertise his coming, for he did not come to teach. He wanted to commune with God, where he could see the waters of the mighty sea. Don't you sometimes just need a break? You just need to go to the ocean or go to the mountains or go somewhere and just talk to God and leave all the earthly stuff. But is that human, lower or higher? It's actually both. You can't go to the sea unless you're taking that body with you. This is the walk of combining the higher and the lower. We're trying to understand the walk of the Christ. Jesus knew how to take the higher energy into the lower and the lower into the higher. There was a story in chapter 105 when they had been funded on this trip by a lot of wealthy women. So they have gone out to teach and heal. And it says that the multitudes met them and they are working like crazy. Jesus worked and taught from early morn until the day had gone and then into the night, and he did not stop to eat. His friends became alarmed that he should fail from loss of strength, and they laid hold of him and would by force have taken him to a place of rest. And he said, "Have you not read that God will give angels charge concerning me? That the angels will hold me fast, that I should not come to want? I tell you, while I am giving out my strength to these anxious waiting throngs, I find myself at rest within the arms of God." There is a tide just once in human life, and these people are now willing to receive the truth. Their opportunity is now, and our opportunity is now. If we do not teach them while they may, the time will ebb. They may not care again to hear the truth. Then, who will bear the guilt? He knew when to flow and when to ebb, because he was so in touch with God, his purpose, who he is in the world, flowing through his human nature. He could lift his human nature, one with God, God, one with human nature. When he needed spirit to move the body, spirit moved the body. When he needed to pull himself away, he pulled himself away. The human body was not designed to function in 2 separate worlds. Do you know that? The human body was not designed to function in 2 separate worlds. They connect in the heart, and I'm not sure what happened. I don't know why we got on this train, because we've been on it for a long time. But when you have the connective tissue here in the heart center, that heart has to remain open. And you know what closes the heart faster than anything else? Fear. And somehow our whole light wave, our whole human world moved into that space of fear at some point. And when we went into fear, the heart shut, and then the connective tissue of this flow started to be constricted. I'm not going to say it stopped totally, because we all experience it every now and then. And today we experience it more and more because we consciously choose to. But if you look at our history and look at all the many, 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 many things that we've done in our recorded history, there's a prevailing energy of a fear in our hearts as a race. So, and many of our religions, almost all of our religions, even go back to the first recorded religion that we have conscious memory of, is founded on capitalizing on this fear. Like, I'm good with you guys being afraid of your spirit, because as the church, I'll take care of your spirit for you. Do you see? So you guys go be human. Do all crazy things. Don't think about your spirit. Just eat, prosper, do what you need to do on the earth plane. Stay on that survival mode. We got your spirit here. And when it's time for you to be forgiven, we'll forgive you, maybe. Or, but you don't think about that anymore. Do you see? And even when I speak those words, what does your energy do? Does it constrict and go, oh God, does your heart start to hurt? Yeah, but realize this is kind of the history that is still in the cells of our body that we are trying to evolve out of. And this is not the walk of the Christ. This is how teachings have been interpreted. Because it's easier to stay in fear than it is to go into love. Do you realize that? Because fear asks nothing of you. You constrict. Love asks everything of you. Because you have to give. We live today in miracle bodies. Do you know that? I'm not up on all the technology, but you know when you hear little tidbits on the news, all the research they're doing, they can take research, they take a cell of something that's not yet defined, perhaps, and they introduce a cell of something that is defined, and then it starts to interact with the undefined, and the undefined starts being defined to match the defined, and now they're creating and growing organs. Is this amazing? This is out of a human body. And so when we look at the bottom line of it, the unformed in the human is seeking directive to be formed. The matter of us, the physical, the human, the lower chakra, the us of us, the human part of us, is seeking a spiritual message to form it. If our heart is held in fear, and how much of our spiritual message can come to the cells of our body? Do you see? How phenomenal is that? I mean, we watch it on TV and we go, wow, that's cool. I wonder what that's going to do. I hope they don't clone humans. Without thinking, that's going on in us every day. Every day. We know medically that every cell in your body is reproduced over so many times in one organ, so many times in another organ. That's not so many times. This amount of time it takes to reproduce a cell of that organ. This amount of time to reproduce a cell in that organ. And then your whole stomach lining gets reproduced every so many months, I think it is. And your whole body, this whole body is reproduced in a certain amount of time from point A to point B. I'm not the same, yet I look the same. I wish I could quote you the amount of time it takes for the whole body to reproduce itself. Every cell within this body is rejuvenated. Does anybody know how long it takes? 7. Okay, let's say 7 years then. Let's say 7 years. So I stand before you 2011, and that means in 2004 there was a Cindy. 2011 there is a Cindy. It is the totally different Cindy. Yet, does anybody know me in 2004? Do I look the same? Why didn't I do a better job? Why didn't I make a better Cindy? I should. The cells that reproduce to replace the cell that's being sloughed off actually mimic the cell that's being flushed off. So if it's an aging cell, it reproduces an aging cell. If it's a disease cell, it reproduces a diseased cell. It doesn't have to. If we could get the heart open and get the directive, this is unformed energy seeking a directive. If we could get the directive going through the cells of our body, then maybe, now go forward, 2011, 2018, you might see a fantastic, wonderful Cindy wearing heels this high. You know, that's my goal.
We will see.
We will see that. But you see what I'm saying? What's our stopper here? The walk of the Christ is the integration of spirit and matter. Matter and spirit, spirit and matter. This God is ever a part of this physical body as much God is a part of your heart. God is a part of every cell. We have to unplug and open up that heart so it says yes, and start giving that divine directive to the various cells of our body.